Nvidia's preliminary quarterly earnings have just been made public, and as a surprise to no one, the company's gaming revenue is down massively, more precisely down 44% from last quarter and down 33% from last year during the same period. If there's a company that knows exactly what the impact of crypto cycles have on GPU sales, it's Nvidia. They've been through it before in 2017 and 18, so surely Nvidia have a game plan to recoup these losses, right? Well, yes, but I suspect that in the coming months, Nvidia's greed will catch up to them like never before. This video is sponsored by UCDkeys.com. UCD Keys offers Windows 10 and Windows 11 Pro keys at super affordable prices. Currently, they have Windows 11 Pro for $21 and Windows 10, which is what I personally use, for just $14. There's also Office keys of various kinds. I've used this service myself, as have lots of my patrons and viewers, and the service works great, and the keys work globally. We're partnering with UCD Keys for a special offer. By using the coupon code C30, you'll get an additional 20% off of any purchase. Visit ucdkeys.com or click the links in the description. So if there's any doubt about where these losses from Nvidia come from, check out this graph from 3dcenter.org. This yellow line here is Ethereum's profitability. The green and red lines are Nvidia and AMD's GPU average prices. As you can see, when Ethereum is highly profitable, as here in early May of 2021, GPU prices shoot up massively. In August of last year, Ethereum's profitability shot up, and there's a gradual increase in GPU prices to match that rise in the following months. And of course, as Ethereum's profitability collapses, so do GPU prices. Conversely, GPU availability has shot through the roof. So it's no wonder that while Ethereum was highly profitable, both AMD and Nvidia posted record profits. And now that Ethereum is not as profitable, those profits are disappearing. Now AMD's exposure to this is much smaller because not only are their GPUs less coveted by miners, but they simply don't have the fab capacity to flood the market with enough high-end GPUs. In fact, looking at AMD's quarterly earnings, you can see that despite lower sales of discrete GPUs, AMD's gaming revenue actually grew 32% compared to last year. Why? Because AMD has hedged their bets and console sales were the big driver for them. And of course, AMD also sells CPUs that go into gaming rigs. Now, I'm not suggesting that AMD didn't sell directly to miners, as Nvidia allegedly did, according to multiple sources. This is not about who treated gamers the worst during the mining boom. The point is that AMD isn't as exposed to the crypto collapse as Nvidia is. Nvidia's CEO Jensen Huang has shown time and again what an amazing salesman he is. And in an effort to repeat how Nvidia got out of a similar hole in 2018 in the last crypto cycle, Jensen's plan was to reduce prices of current inventory and recoup the losses for these 2 quarters by launching a new generation of GPUs with a promise of twice the performance compared to last gen, or so the latest leaks and rumors suggest. While this worked to some extent back when Nvidia launched Turing, I believe this plan will blow spectacularly in Jensen's face. Here's why. Firstly, despite seeing the greatest price reductions in Nvidia's history, the current inventory just isn't selling, and there are a lot of unsold GPUs, billions of dollars worth of stock. Nvidia's partners are so desperate they even got influencers to spew lies to consumers, claiming that prices were the lowest they will ever be, something that has already been proven false, and that the next generation of Nvidia GPUs won't launch for at least a year, something that only an absolute idiot would believe. The desperation is tangible, and prices will continue to be slashed. But guess what? Gamers won't be buying. Why? Well, there's a new generation on the horizon, so high-end buyers are not going to be spending money on soon-to-be deprecated technology, and everyone else has their eyes on the used market. RTX 3080s or 3090s from the used market will be so cheap that it makes no sense to buy a mid-range GPU from the next gen. Gamers can just wait for new GPUs to be announced and pounce on deals on eBay afterwards. You will be able to get them either from miners or wealthy current current gen owners looking to upgrade. There will be millions of current high-end GPUs on eBay for really low prices. In addition to that, while in the case of Turing, Jensen was able to paddle ray tracing and DLSS as a reason to upgrade, gamers are more savvy now. A 3080 or 3090 will be able to run any game that comes out at 4K with high settings for at least a couple of years. This wasn't the case with the 1080 Ti when the 2080 Ti was announced. So Jensen is left with billions of dollars of inventory for new GPUs that no one will buy because the used market will cater to those wanting to upgrade, and also a new generation of hardware that no one but the very wealthy will buy because prices will continue to be absurdly high and there is simply no reason to be upgrading. Will Jensen invent a reason to upgrade? We'll come back to that. Even if you want to upgrade from 1440p to 4K, you'll want to spend most of your budget on a good monitor, either an OLED TV from LG or one of the new G-series OLED displays from Samsung, so that you can get that buttery smooth gameplay that only OLED can provide, not to mention the unrivaled image quality. Once you have the display, whatever money is left can be put towards a 3080 or 3090 or a 6900 XT on the used market. Why spend $2,000 on a new GPU when you'll be able to buy an RTX 3090 for $600 on eBay before the end of the year? That will be plenty to run any foreseeable game on your new OLED 4K display. To make matters worse, up until now, Nvidia has had barely any competition from AMD. Going forward, things will change. AMD's strategy is to focus on the high end, the very people that Nvidia is counting on to save their asses and buy the RTX 4090 to at least dampen the blow that crypto is inflicting on them right now. But what if AMD's high-end GPU is not only faster, but also more efficient and more readily available? The consensus out there is that AMD's top-end GPU will feature a chiplets design with just one graphics die and 6 memory chiplets for cache. I'm still not convinced that this is the high-end model. Lisa Su made it very clear in the last Investors Day that AMD is aiming for high-margin products. To do so, AMD will need a GPU generation that does to GPUs what Zen did to CPUs, and completely change the paradigm from what we're used to seeing. To me, even if this is as fast as Nvidia's next gen, that's not enough for AMD to set their targets as the high-end, high-margin consumers. They will need to wow these types of consumers in order to break the Nvidia mindshare. That didn't happen with the 6900 XT, even though it was faster than the 3090 in some instances, particularly at 1440p. So if AMD wasn't confident in a clear win this generation, they would adopt a different strategy. They wouldn't rely on high margins, they would rely on value. Now you might say, maybe AMD is increasing margins because they are reducing the manufacturing costs. After all, that's one of the benefits of chiplets, right? While true, 5nm from TSMC is incredibly expensive. I've shown this graph in past videos. Not only is the cost of designing a new chip on 5nm almost twice as much as on 7nm, but the wafer costs have gone up by at least 15%, with TSMC warning of higher prices coming next year. Despite using chiplets, AMD's next-gen products will be more expensive to manufacture, and the design cost needs to be recouped. But there's more to AMD's strategy than just raw GPU performance leadership. AMD recently introduced a new game bundle called Raise the Game to entice gamers to spend money in these difficult times. One of the games included, which has since been delayed and will launch in January of next year, is Forspoken. This game wasn't chosen by accident. Forspoken is a huge bet from Square Enix, and both Sony and AMD have had their say in setting the game's release. While AMD wanted the game out in time for the next generation of GPUs, Sony wanted it delayed because of conflicting release schedules on the PS5. The reason this game is so important for AMD is because it will be a poster child for AMD's grand strategy for the PC, the synergy between AMD CPUs, GPUs, and the platform that holds them. On the Luminous Productions YouTube channel, you can see how closely the developer worked with AMD, with videos not only showcasing all of AMD's Fidelity FX technologies used in the game, but more importantly, direct storage, or what AMD calls smart access storage. AMD is so heavily involved with this game that they're even featured in the video's tags. AMD is hoping Forspoken will do for Radeon what what games like Control and Metro Exodus did for RTX. Paddle a new generation of hardware with exclusive technologies that will supposedly provide you with a richer gaming experience. One of the key advantages of smart access storage will be GPU data compression for direct storage, which will reduce CPU overhead by over 40%. What this means is that games that feature heavy use of things like physics or large-scale environments will greatly benefit from running on an AMD synergistic platform. While AMD was able to eventually respond to Nvidia's ray tracing and DLSS, Nvidia doesn't have its own PC platform to leverage its synergies. They are at the mercy of both AMD and Intel, who are both their direct competitors, to implement and optimize Nvidia hardware for things like direct storage. And while I can't reveal any specifics right now, AMD is already testing a suite of APIs and tools for game developers that will leverage having an AMD GPU and CPU along with smart access storage and a few other things that haven't been announced yet. This is a long-term strategy that will be crucial for the next generation of consoles, but that's a story for another day. While Forspoken won't be out by the time AMD announces RDNA 3, I fully expect to see it demoed on the GPU, and that goes for Zen 4 as well. I think people are sleeping on this platform advantage, looking at next-gen components in a vacuum, while the key to gaining the performance leadership could be in the synergy between components and technologies. I wouldn't be surprised if when you combine the top Ryzen 7000 CPU, a next-gen M.2 drive, and the top RDNA 3 GPU, that AMD will smash Nvidia and Intel for that matter. I think this is the Kraken that AMD is unleashing. Whether it works is another story, but I think this time around Jensen is going to have a hard time cruising through the mining crash. The price cuts are already unprecedented, and I think hard times are coming for the company, at least as far as gaming is concerned. In addition to this, AMD will present real competition this time around. Now, of course, it would be a mistake to underestimate Jensen's ability to sell a new generation. I suspect the new buzzword for the next generation of hardware will be neural graphics, which is how Nvidia will leverage AI to improve graphics fidelity and efficient execution. I think gamers will be about as interested in neural graphics as they were in ray tracing. There is another aspect of Nvidia that's worth covering, and I will do so very soon. Turns out that an exclusive that I had on Nvidia a couple of years ago is about to materialize. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss my video on that. This video was made possible by my awesome patrons. Join my Patreon for just $1 per month and get exclusive access to the Cortex Discord server, where I frequently share exclusive bits of information. If you can't contribute financially, then please give this video a like and share it, as that really helps. Thanks for watching, and until the next one.